We're back. The Halloween Society cat. Number 4 out of the mold. You smell beer on Daddy's breath. No, you can't go on the certificates. We are here with the final episode of the Halloween Society videos. So I guess it's going to be 3 videos. I could have stretched it out into 4. It's funny, I thought there was 3 pieces left to show you tonight. There's 4. Oh, yes, my friends. Rub the magical cat. Where's your asshole brother? All right, so tonight we're wrapping up the Halloween Society videos with the 3rd video in the series, right? Number 3. This will also be a Artifacts of the Frankenshrine video because 1, 2, 3 of these 4 pieces came from Frank's. They're from the Frankenshrine. So this is absolutely a Artifacts of the Frankenshrine video / Halloween Society edition. And 1 piece did not come from Frank, so we're going to save that one for last. But anyway, today, this is going to be great because there are some great pieces in this final video. Like really amazing stuff. We're going to start off with the first piece. This is an old dead dude that was found in Egypt. I'm sure you can guess where we're going with this. So, the Halloween Society Mummy. Okay, the Mummy. Custom Collector's Edition. The Halloween Society is pleased to inscribe Frank onto the Scroll of Thoth. Scroll of Thoth. For all eternity as proprietor of copy number 1. Of 20 masks depicting the mummy Imhotep as portrayed by Boris Karloff. You see that? Frank had copy number 1 out of all 20 of these mummies out there. Frank had number 1. Frank, you still blow my mind after all these years. So this piece was sculpted by Mr. Paul Clemens himself. Like I said, Paul sculpted at least a half a dozen of these Halloween Society pieces back in the day. I just learned that there was a special display of Halloween Society pieces at Son of Monsterpalooza this past weekend. Let's take a look. Ooh, there's some rare stuff on that table. You'll see 3 pieces that I do not have. I think there's the other 3 are in there. They should be. So, and if I don't get them, it's not the end of the world. Like, if you out there find me and you got that Wolfman in your hands, I'm not going to, like, give you my firstborn child for it. So anyway, let's pull out the mummy. It's right here. I could have bought one, like I said, years ago, and I passed on it. But look at this. Mr. Paul de Clemens, and this was sculpted in 1985. This one's dated, thank goodness. Paul put the date on the back. Collector's edition. There we go. This is a great sculpt, by the way. I've always loved this Halloween Society mummy. He did a great job sculpting this piece. We will pull the old camera down. Very, very nice. I could not have sculpted this to save my life, but Paul did a wonderful job. Just a really, it's like a simple piece, but it's not, you know, it's, I think out of all the Halloween Society pieces, this is like the most I don't want to say simple, it's because it's all sort of like monotoned and just, you know, the others have hair and clothing that I have here, but this is just the mummy, you know, and it looks so good. I really love this. The sculpt is great on it, and this is the first pull out of that mold, and this has great detailing. Let's take a look back here. You can see here. Can you read that? Paul de Clemens, right in the back. Foam filled nicely. So cool. The funny thing is, I passed up a mummy many years ago from my buddy Jamie. He had one, and I'm like, pass. I could have bought it for like $400 back then. And I just knew, I go, if I get that one, I'm going to want to go after all of them. And at the time, there was no way I was paying insane money for pieces. I thought $500 for a mask was out of, you'd be out of your mind to pay $500 for a mask. My have times changed. So, look at that sucker. Let's take one more good look at this awesome mummy by Paul Clemens, 1985, number 1 out of the run of 20 Halloween Society mummies. The COA is signed by Mr. Paul Clemens, Ron McGid, and Mr. Dante Renta. Oh, here. They actually dated it this time. Signed this 13th day of July, 1985. All right, cool. All right, guys, let's go on to the next one. Gosh, there's 3 great pieces left, and I don't know what to show you next. I'll show you the next one, which is one of my absolute favorites. I'll never forget going down into Frank's collection room for the first time and just being blown away by the amount of incredible masks. And there were a lot of them. And I looked up in one section of the room and I saw this guy on top of the shelf with his beautiful top hat and the custom clothing. And so this Halloween Society piece that came straight from the old Frankenshrine, and this piece was moldy. I had to clean him, and boy, does he look good now. This is one of the best pieces in this room for sure. All right, the Halloween Society Custom Collector's Edition. This is to certify that Frank is the fortunate owner of number 4 of the Frederick Marsh Mr. Hyde mask. We hereby verify that only 10 such masks exist in the known world as of this 25th day of September 1984. Look at that. So this is signed by Dante Renta and Ron McGid, the good old Mr. Hyde. You're going to recognize this dude. Mr. Hyde, number 4, out of only 10 pieces produced. Keep in mind, he came pretty naked. He didn't have clothing, didn't have a hat. But once Frank got his old hands on it, look what he did. Holy cow. Man. You will see pictures of this in old Halloween Gazette magazines. You'll see like a little black and white photo of this sucker. Oh my God, this is just nuts. This is getting into that cool realm of pieces that stands way above other things in this room. You know what I mean? God, number 1, Halloween Society. Number 2, owned by Frank of the Frankenshrine. And number 3, it's just effing cool. Let's see if I can get any more light on him. There we go. How's that? Boom. I should have lit up that mummy. So this incredible Frederick Marsh Mr. Hyde was actually the very first Halloween Society piece commissioned by the guys. This was number 1. So if you ever wondered what was the first thing the Halloween Society came up with on their want list or commission list, it was him, sculpted by Joe Reeder. Look at that sucker. Isn't that nuts? And he predates the mummy I just showed you. So this was before the mummy. Look at this thing. And he's nice and big. He's life size. Look at that. This is the original hat that came with Frank's piece. Didn't come with it. None of this came with it. The tailor, Frank's tailor, made all this stuff. Frank supplied the hat. Luckily, I found another one of these hats, or 2 of them in Frank's stuff, brand new in the box. And I love that. I don't remember who painted Frank's copy or who finished it, did the hair and paint on this one. That's one thing I'm a little foggy on. But man, it's aged beautifully. You know, it's got that nice dull finish, you know, to the paint, and it's perfect. This thing is perfect, you know. Let's take this off again. Get a good look at him without his hat. Look at that thing, man. I'm going to turn him a little bit so you can see more of him in the light, because I know it's the lighting's a little funky in here. I moved some of the lights around, but man, is this a great piece. I've seen others in the series. I've seen other Halloween Society Mr. Hydes like this, and this is no doubt my favorite one. Not because it's mine or was Frank's, but look at it. I mean, how do you top this? The custom clothing and the hat, it just makes it. I'm gonna have to photograph these two guys later for Instagram, the two Top Hat brothers. What a freaking amazing piece. And here's that COA once more. Oops. Halloween Society. Look at that. He is not foam filled. This piece has to get foam filled. He's on a styro head that Frank painted with this thick black paint. Thank God. But he is the rubber it's firm, but look at it, it's pliable. It's definitely pliable. But my God, if that thing was on a styro head, unpainted, I guarantee you it would be like a hard potato chip by now. Just rocky hard, like the freaking Wolfman over there. But what a gorgeous piece. So this guys is one of my favorite Halloween Society pieces that is in this room, and one in the entire run. This is one of the best. On to the next piece, which is spectacular. All right, guys, this next piece is one of the best. Like I said, this is another larger-than-life Halloween Society piece. Custom Collector's Edition. Are you ready? This is a big one. Not as big as their Golem, but he's pretty big. The great bells of Notre Dame toll for thee, Frank, to herald your acquisition of Quasimoto number 1. This is number 1 from the Halloween Society Master Mold for the Quasimotos. From a limited edition of 20 pieces. From what I've heard, this was a pain in the butt to create. And it was a little pricey in the end for the people involved. You know, that's just things I read. But this thing, I wish I could have experienced buying this brand new for the first time before anyone had them. Get out of there! So, sculptor on this one is Mr. Paul Clemens once again. And this is signed by Ron McGid. And there's also, this is huge news. Did you know there's a Halloween Society book coming out? What timing with these videos, huh? Ron McGid is putting out a book on the Halloween Society. So, I have to get my hands on that. From what I heard today, there's little, Ron wrote the book. It's his baby, but a lot of guys chimed in that were part of this whole thing back in the day. So this, I'm telling you, if you love these pieces, get ready for this book. You're going to want a copy in your collection. I know Frank would. You should see the books Frank had. Ooh, look at that. Wow. It's funny because this is the second one I've owned. More on that in a minute, but holy cow. This is crazy. All right, everybody, I need to just, first of all, let me tell you a few things. Yes, number 1 from this is the first master pull, according to Mr. Dante. Number 1 master from the master right here. These had, a lot of them had human hair by Laura Lady, human hair from a human. And they came with the shirt. However, Frank told me, if I'm not mistaken, that he dyed this one. I think it could have been white when it was brand new, and I think he probably had his tailor do it. Someone, he or the other guy, dyed it this color. I don't think any of them are this color. But what a, oh my God, this thing's so cool. And you never realize how big these are until you get them in your hands. All right. Look at this. Look at that expression. I mean, the sculpt. Once again, Paul Clemens. I mean, he is one hell of a talent when it comes to sculpture. And this thing is so good. And one thing a lot of people don't realize is how big his hunchback is back here. I mean, it's a gigantic piece, super wide. He may be as wide as the golem or a little under, but dude, he's so cool. And learning that Frank had #1, I mean, so cool. I know of about 3 of these maybe out there in collection land. But this sucker is so beautiful. This sat under a plastic bag in that room I speak of that was sealed off for over 9 years. And you couldn't even see him. It was just caked with dust, you know, and I'd pull up that plastic and I'd see how nice everything was and clean. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God Frank covered him, because this hair would have been caked with dust. That could be human hair for sure. It's just got some hairspray in it, I think, to make it stay in place. But let's turn him around. I know I went around him, but let's show you the back side in the light, because you gotta see the detail on this sculpt. Look at the whip marks. See that? How cool is that? Isn't that awesome? It's so grody with that, you know, so gross with that shit coming down, like oozing down. You know, just it's almost like blood or pus coming out of his wounds. Whoever painted this did a great job. It's definitely a nice paint up on this. You could see where one section of this thing was outside of the plastic. See that? This was, and this is, I vacuumed this, but it's either got dust in it or the sun from a window faded that. But that was sticking out of the plastic bag. Man, what a killer Halloween Society piece. You can definitely see that these were special pieces that these guys wanted. They wanted these Halloween Society editions to be something that you will not see anywhere else. This is way more than a Halloween mask. I'm gonna put a mask next to him that a lot of you know, you know, for size. Let's see. I'm gonna put an Uncle Creepy mask next to him. That's a Dom Post Uncle Creepy. So that should show you how massive this piece is, you know, for scale. Look at that. I was saying that I owned 2 of these at one time. I'll show you. I had another copy here recently that I sold to a friend of mine. I bought it as a Halloween Society Quasimodo, okay? However, it was not one of the official run. So somewhere along the line, somebody had this mold and made a copy or 2 out of it, and it was not part of the first 20 signed and numbered copies. So that there could be a piece or 2 out there. Well, there is definitely one at least out of this mold. And the facial expression looks a little different because this is from the master and the other is probably either a production mold or maybe, I don't think it's a recast because it was exactly the same size. But I'll show you the pictures side by side when I had both pieces here. And pretty wild that I had 2 at once, but the one was not official Halloween Society numbered. But man, this is crazy. #1, I think once I get through the last piece, I may try to set up all of the Halloween Society pieces I own in one spot so you can look at them all together, okay? And see how many I have sitting here out of the original run of those pieces that were produced. All right, on to the last Halloween Society piece that I own. This is now this one's a little strange that we're going to talk about next. So, what could it be? Is it a person? Is it a monster? Is it a creature? What do we have here, folks? I'm sure you can kind of guess what this is. So, before I unveil this, let me tell you a few things about this piece. This piece, it's the Halloween Society creature, although there was no Halloween Society creature, meaning it was never a signed and numbered, it was never an official numbered run piece, okay? Dante was telling me that it was casted up for some people at the time who asked for one that were part of the Halloween Society. So technically, you can call it a Halloween Society piece, even though it's not, okay? This was an original 60s creature from the Black Lagoon was really worn out, you know, the calendar mask. So Jim Leonard did a clay press off of that piece, and it was their intentions. I think Dante could have been behind the creation of this along with Jim. They wanted to really redefine some of the wrinkles and the creases and bring back a lot of the lost detailing of that amazing, incredible creature from the Black Lagoon, which did originate from the Universal molds, right? If you remember the story I told you on that other piece up there, you know, Don Post Studios took one of the Universal Studios creature molds, the movie mold, and that's what they started to use to make their 1966 calendar line masks. So in the end, in the 80s, the thing was really worn out, and they did the clay press. Boom, they came up with this piece right here. So let me introduce to you the Halloween Society creature that really isn't part of a numbered edition, but here it is. So we're going to take this camera down, and really first I'm going to grab another, hold on, we'll take the camera down. So one really cool thing about this guy, hey, there's some marker on his head. What the? Oh, hand signed by Rico Browning. Look at that. How cool is that? So the creature himself autographed his head. You could see this is a really interesting, you know, sculpt or mold. It looks different than a lot of the other creatures you'll see in this room. I mean, it's very similar, but it stands alone. It's got its own look comparing it to other ones in the room. So what I'm going to do is get down this baby here. This is a very important one as well. And I'm going to put these side by side, and you can kind of study these two masks together. And there are definite little differences, you know, through here. I see differences there, differences in the bib. I don't know if they took this mold that this came from. I don't know if they did the clay press off of that particular mold or not, but it was one of them, one of those old original Don Post creature molds. Yeah, take a good look at this. This thing is, you know, even though it's not a certificate, even though this is not accompanied by a certificate, it's not part of a, you know, numbered Halloween Society run, it is very rare. Very rare. I know my buddy Dino has one in his collection. It could have been Dante's original copy, if I remember correctly. Dino's was painted by, I know these were painted by various people. Dino's was painted by Rick Stratton. This particular copy, though, hold on, guys. Let's see here. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? What can I tell you? I spoke with Dante about this. He said, yes, it was clay pressed by Jim Leonard from an underwater head in the mid 80s, but never offered as an official run mask, you know. Various painters were involved in finishing these. Rick Stratton painted the one Dino now has. Dr. Lady did his own copy. Tony Pitocco painted his own. And honestly, besides those few, This is the only other one I know of. So at least there's about 4 of these known by myself. But I couldn't tell you who painted this one. The lips are really red. And I don't think it was the Tharps. You know, I don't know if it was David Lady. I can't pinpoint whose work this is. It looks good. I mean, it's cool. I don't mind red lipstick looking creatures. It reminds me of like a creature toy in a way. But just a really rare piece. And this came from a big old greedy collector out there, friend of mine, who is always asking astronomical prices for his masks. Oh, but of course I jumped on it. I'm just messing around with him. Good friend of mine in the mask world sold me this, and yes, it was very pricey, but man, I had to get it. I had to. I said, you know, it's not an official Halloween Society, but it is a Halloween Society creature. So that is so cool. And I'm sad to tell you guys that is all of my Halloween Society pieces. It's funny how quickly these videos went on them. We only did 3 to my knowledge. But when I put them all together on the wall, you'll see that there's a lot. They're just, you know, how many can you show you? I didn't want to just do 1 mask per video and then boom, it's over. I wanted you to enjoy these videos. You know, sit back, relax, and listen to my soothing voice talking about these pieces. So, I'm going to set up something somewhere in this room and figure out how we can look at all of them together. And then I'm going to show you in photos which ones I am missing, because there's 3 that I don't have. And, of course, it turns out they're like the rarest ones of all. But, you know, if I find them someday, that's great. If not, I can live with that. All right, let's set them all up and take a good look at these beautiful, rare Halloween Society pieces. First, I want to say thank you for sticking with me and watching these. It was fun to finally dig in and talk about the Halloween Society pieces. You know, I don't know everything there is to know on them. I told you what I could. I had to reach out to some friends for a couple of details here and there, but I think we did a good job covering them, and I certainly had fun talking about them. I was a little off my rocker at times, but I like to laugh it up a little bit. Can't be like, you know, can't be just, you gotta laugh sometimes, right? So, I'm going to show you the pieces I have here. I am really impressed that I own this many Halloween Society pieces. Let's turn the camera around, and we're going to start at the bottom here with these 2 big boys, and I'm going to pan out and all the way to the top shelf. Those are all Halloween Society. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you know, we got the creature, which is technically not the production, not the Halloween Society numbered edition, but he certainly is labeled a Halloween Society creature by a lot of the guys that were involved in this whole thing back then. So that's, once you get back and look, you're like, yeah, there's quite a bit of them sitting here, you know, just so cool. And technically, you know, I've got, he's 1 piece. That's that first pull prototype, you know, mask. So that is technically 1 Halloween Society piece. It's not 2, because that wasn't a numbered piece. That was, you know, the test pull. So in reality, if you're talking numbered Halloween Society pieces, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Because the pumpkin was not a numbered piece, the creature was not, and that's like a prototype. So there's 10 official HS pieces, 13 total here though with the cool oddballs. And let's go to David Lady's book real quick. David Lady's book here. I'm going to show you the ones I'm missing, okay? I am missing the Wolfman. I am missing a Peter Lorre, okay? A Halloween Society Peter Lorre. And they made this crazy Halloween Society Beast from Beauty and the Beast, sculpted by Kathy Tharp. All three of those are quite rare. I found a Peter Lorre mask thinking it was the Halloween Society edition, and it wasn't. So still cool though. And one cool thing about David's book here, it's going to show them in order. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all in order now from their production years, the dates they were made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He was just kind of made in limbo, I'll say, between signed pieces. What, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 or 14, I don't know. But anyway, you get the idea. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool that I have that many of them. Again, thank you for watching. I want to keep filming, but I don't want to mix in things into this video that are not Halloween Society. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I will stop this, go edit it, and tomorrow morning think of something else cool to share with you guys for this month of October, and share my love of Halloween and all things horror with you guys. I know if you're watching this, you love it just as much as I do. Maybe not this much, but you do. So thank you and good night.